Welcome to Channel 17, the Town of Colonie Government Channel.
Hello, I'm Colonie Town Judge Peter Crummey, and welcome to Benchmark. We'll explore a variety of issues involving our legal system, our justice system, and how they intersect with the citizens of the town of Colonie. Today, we are truly fortunate to have as our guest Albany County Court Judge Stephen Herrick. As many of you know, Judge Herrick has served as our Albany County Court Judge for over 9 years, and prior to that, served as Albany City Court Judge for 7 years. During Judge Herrick's tenure at Albany City Court, he introduced the drug court system into Albany County and has taken his framework into the county courthouse as well. And he continues to enjoy success as a member of our judiciary. And thank you, Judge Herrick, for joining us today.
Thank you, Peter, for inviting me.
Well, you know, we go back a long time together, and I'm certainly so pleased that you're here. The citizens of the town of Colonie are very much interested in how the Albany County Court works and recognizing that much of your work involves criminal cases. Is that right, Judge?
I would say over 99% of the cases that I preside over are criminal. We handle some civil appeals from the local courts, and every once in a while a landlord tenant matter might come into county court, but almost everything is criminal and major felonies that we preside over.
Well, there's no question that from time to time our courts interact with each other, usually many times on felonies that originate in the town of Colonie. I may be called on to do an arraignment, and then the matter is transferred downtown to the Albany County Court. Sometimes cases are returned to the town court. And that happens under what circumstances, Judge?
Well, somebody gets arrested for a felony, and they have a right to a preliminary hearing within a period of time set by statute. And on many occasions, before the case is effectively reviewed by the district attorney's office, they waive for grand jury consideration, or they're bound over after a preliminary hearing in the local court. So the matter comes down to the district attorney's office for review and consideration, and in a very high number of cases, after review, they're sent back to the local courts by what's called a 180.40 order, and then the case is to be reconsidered as a misdemeanor by the local court.
Judge, there's no question that both of our criminal calendars are very full. In fact, OCA has listed Colonie as the 22nd busiest criminal docket in the state of New York of all courts, and certainly the Albany County Court has a full docket as well. How many cases will you be asked to handle over the course of a typical year in your county court?
At any given time, I have anywhere from 60 to, I think when I started in 2002, over 100 indictments that I handle. I now have about 65 indictments. In addition to that, I carry 192 people, I think, in my 2 drug courts.
Well, that'll certainly complete your docket, that's for sure. And I'm finding that in our criminal caseload here in the town of Colonie, much of it is addiction related or substance abuse related. Do you see the same trends at the felony level in your courthouse as well?
It's the same observation, and I made it when I was city court judge as well. I would say anywhere from 60 to 75% of the cases that we get, there's a substance abuse issue that's involved, and that's why the drug court concept was implemented and has been so successful. It takes out of the situation for consideration for incarceration nonviolent felonies that are drug-driven. And we've been very successful at the county court level to divert cases and get people counseling and treatment versus being incarcerated and warehoused for a period of time at a much higher cost to the taxpayer.
Well, Judge, you were certainly the first judge to introduce drug court into Albany County and as a city court judge. And you've taken that same floor plan and brought it to the county court level. And now, in addition to that, you're maintaining other specialized courts as well under that umbrella, including courts that deal with veterans and also with DWI. Would you tell us how those work, Judge?
Well, when I was elected to the county court, I left the drug court as it existed in Albany City Court. And I wanted to continue that at the felony level. And I got permission to do that. My administrative judge said you can continue, you can start a drug court and county court as long as you maintain your calendar. I'll give you no other consideration, and I don't want you to take more than 25 participants. And now I have 192. That was in 2002. In 2004, I split the drug court, so I have a drug court and I have a DWI treatment court, and right now they're about the same size. In 2009, there was an interest in Albany County to start a veterans treatment court, and that interest was generated out of Albany City Court by two of the city court judges there. And the administrative judge in the 3rd District, which is the 7 counties surrounding Albany County, determined that it would be more cost-effective to start the Veterans Court concept of treatment court in existing drug courts. And he wanted to do that throughout the 3rd District. So he started a committee that I co-chaired. We developed a plan to set up a veterans track within existing drug treatment courts and DWI treatment courts throughout the 3rd Judicial District. And that started in 2010, and it is growing in several of the 7 counties. We have, I think, about 15 to 20 veterans going back to the Vietnam War era, who are actively involved in the vet track of one of my 2 drug courts. And that's a little bit different from the regular drug court program because we use veteran mentors with each of the veterans. So they have, it's like a buddy system. And we try to associate Marines with Marines, a combat veteran with a combat veteran, so that there's some similarity of background and interest. And the mentor's role is to help, not supervise, but help a veteran through the process. And it's been successful initially, and we hope to see it have continued success.
Judge, procedurally, how does it work? How do you decide whether some person would be appropriate for consideration under that court, and what type of leverage is utilized in order to encourage a successful result by the defendant?
Well, a referral can be made by a defendant, defense attorney, the district attorney, a police officer. It can come from anywhere. It often comes from other judges. So I have a conference that's set up with the prosecutor, my drug court manager, my coordinator, defense attorney, and we talk about the case. We do a preliminary review to see whether it's appropriate in terms of any criminal history of violence. If it is appropriate, then we'll have an assessment done to determine the level of substance dependence, or in terms of the Veterans Court, whether there are mental health issues that need to be addressed. And we come up with a plea bargain because everybody in my drug treatment courts or DWI drug court has pled guilty to something before they come in.
All right.
And they know what the sentence will be if they are unsuccessfully discharged, and they know what will happen if they successfully complete drug court, which is usually a substantial reduction, usually from a felony to a misdemeanor, and instead of getting any additional jail time, they get some short period of additional supervision.
So that typically for those people that are looking to right themselves, that's enough of a leverage. And do you find that it's working that way?
Well, in addition to just having that disposition and going into treatment, they come in once a week generally to see me. I have my drug court day is every Friday. So I have 2 drug courts that I see on Friday. I don't see each one of my participants individually, but I do have individual participants who are either being commended or there's an issue that needs to be addressed or they're in violation, come up and see me, and very often I will tell somebody, you tested positive, go have a seat in the jury box, which means they're on their way out to Albany County Jail for a short period of time, a weekend, sometimes a week, until they get placement in a higher level of care. But it's an immediate response as contrasted to probation or a conditional discharge or leaving something up to a treatment provider to advise the court of a problem. If somebody violates the drug court agreement, I'm generally aware of it within 24 hours, and we respond immediately. So the quick response is a very effective method of getting people to be internally motivated for success versus externally motivated. And the fact that they have somebody in a position of authority who actually cares about their well-being instead of just sending them to jail is also a factor that's been mentioned to me on many, many occasions.
Judge, do you find that that's part of the support network which can actually promote success? Sometimes it's suggested that support networks encompass family or relatives or friends, but also it can be the court system.
It is the drug court team that we have, and we have an alumni meeting that meets every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. And an active alumni association, and it's a support system. It's part of the Sober Support Network. The graduates are always welcome to come back and see me or see their case manager or the coordinator, and we maintain very close relationships as time goes on, and we are part of their Sober Support Network.
Do you find this year in implementing VetTrack, which is a newer concept, do you find that veterans can present, yet again, separate issues that other defendants may not present, justifying the need to, at that county level, to focus on some of those specialized issues?
Well, I think that the veterans present with a number of unique issues, and the modern era veteran is coming back with traumatic brain injury and PTSD. There are emotional and trauma issues with many of them, a very high percentage, and we're gearing up to address those unique needs and issues.
Well, it sounds like, once again, Judge, you're in the forefront of delivering justice here in Albany County, but your long career as an attorney didn't start with Albany City Court. In fact, you practiced, after graduating from Albany Law School, you practiced privately, also working with the Public Defender's Office for some time, and also representing our Albany City School District for 19 years.
That's correct. I've been in private practice ever since I was admitted to practice back in the mid-'70s. And I was the Albany City School District's attorney for 19 years and ended that only when I was seeking the appointment to a vacancy in Albany City Court in late 1994. So from 1976 to 1994, I was the Albany City School District's attorney, which was a huge job. I was their only attorney, and it was supposed to be a part-time job, and I don't think I spent 1 week of all those years doing less than 40 hours of work for the school district. But it was a great experience.
During that 19 years, did you see, and was there any evolution of the types of issues that confronted the school district, either by student body issues or by relationships with the surrounding municipalities? Or did it seem to remain constant in the type of issues that you saw during the 19 years for school districts?
I think that the issues within the school district reflect the issues in the outside community. The breakdown of the family, the dependence on the schools to be, in effect, a parent, but at the same time not allowing the school district to act as a parent in terms of disciplining misbehavior or omission. That grew during the time that I was active with the Albany City Schools, and I think it continues to date, and I see that in the court system as well.
Well, I think one of the things that I've pointed out since I came on the bench here 10 years ago, and having been born and raised in Colonie and having attended Shaker High School and during the 70s, and then one of the surprises I had, because I didn't think I'd have any surprises, I thought I understood the community very well. One of the surprises I have, and what I found here in the Colonie Court, is how many students, high school students, are actually in the criminal court system, which I don't believe was the case in the mid-70s.
I would,
a lot more.
I would agree with that.
Well,
and it is increasing. A lot of the violent crime that I see, including the shootings and the robberies, involve 15, 16, 17-year-old children.
And and I think that it's certainly a challenge for our school districts as well, but there's a variety of reasons for it. But ultimately, you and I see the results
right.
Of what's happening, and many students are in the courthouse. And sometimes I see them without anybody else. And when I see, everybody can make a mistake. And I might have a student in the courtroom, but they have guardians or parents with them. I feel there could be a success story here because there is a support network. But there have been times when the young person is by themselves. They may be a student, they may be 17 or 18 years old, but there doesn't seem to be a support network, and I worry about what happens next if they just don't have that network to help them through one mistake.
And a lot of times the support network that those individuals have support the negative behavior, not the resolution of the negative behavior.
Well, we continue to be challenged in our criminal courts. And not only does your caseload include over 190 drug court cases and 60 indictments, but I have to believe that you are constantly at trial as well. It no doubt fluctuates year to year, but how many jury trials could you typically preside over in a year?
Well, there's 3 judges that handle felony trials at the county level, and I average somewhere between 15 to 20, mid-20s in trials a year. A trial generally takes 4 to 5 days, although I've had a trial that lasted 13 weeks. I've had a trial that lasted 2 days. But generally, I plan a full week for a trial and try to get the trial completed before my drug court's on Friday. But it's not always possible. Judge Breslin seems to have more trials than Judge Lamont or myself. But Judge Lamont and I try, I'd say, between 15 and 25 cases a year. Judge Breslin, usually over 20 cases a year.
Well, that certainly provides for a complete calendar. Have you seen that in your over 9 years of serving as our Albany County Court judge, have you seen the volume change or the nature of the allegations change, or has it remained a constant over the 9 years or so?
Well, of course, we, as judges of criminal courts, handle what is given to us. We don't choose what we handle or what comes into the criminal justice process. But when I started in 2002, I had over 100 indictments, I think 115 when I started, and that has been reduced by constant effort. And the incoming number of cases fluctuates.
Right.
The nature of the offenses, I don't think has changed that much. I see more identity theft and larceny, I think, perhaps than I did 9 years ago. The number of drug cases has not changed. The type of drug cases has not really changed. Whether somebody goes to jail or goes into drug court is a factor that has changed. But the type of cases that initially come in, I don't think has changed that much over the 9 years.
Oftentimes, court observers suggest different reasons for what we've both seen as a rise in larcenies, certainly. And some suggest it's addiction-driven. Some have suggested that it's the economy. Do you think it's a variety of reasons, or is there one single factor that is driving more than any other factor to increase the larceny cases that we both have?
I think it's a number of reasons. The economy is certainly part of it. I think people see an easy way to make money, to obtain property. I think that the feeling of right and wrong, especially what is wrong, has diminished over the years. There's no respect for authority, or a reduced respect for authority. But that may just be generational. I mean, I'm sure my parents said the same thing about my generation. But that's an observation, and I do feel that the increase in larcenies and identity theft is unique to our current environment.
That's right. Yeah. I see that routinely because even in cases that are brought by state agencies that happen to have departments in the town, oftentimes the case might be started in the town court for a variety of reasons, and the allegations involve sometimes wholesale identity theft of information that's maintained on computers for the benefit of others.
I see a lot of cases involving people from outside the area that come up because we're the crossroads of upstate New York. And there's a lot of chain stores here, and it appears to be an area for an easy series of thefts, just driving the interstates.
Judge, you've had more than 15 years, 16 years, 17 years of certainly as in the judicial branch. Do you see the judiciary changed in the future? In 100 years, what do you think the judiciary could look like? Will we become more automated, like the federal system is fairly automated at this particular point?
It is.
And do you see our state, county, and even local courts moving that way as well, and including more video arraignments and other things that can be done that the federal system seems to be out in front of at this point?
Way out in front of us. I see movement in that direction, but I think it is going to be driven by what's cost effective, and on the other side, the ability to finance the movement. And right now, I would like to hope that we will become more electronic and doing the remote arraignments and conferencing. But I don't see it in the near future. The law is set up to allow it, but I don't think we're going to see it for another several years. And I don't see us catching up with the federal system for quite a period of time.
It seems that even federal, the papers, the litigation papers are all
electronic.
Electronic.
Right.
Yeah. And we were fortunate to have Judge Therese on Benchmark some months ago, and he was explaining in detail how the federal system works, and all of the papers seem to be downloaded right online.
Right.
And then presented for public view too.
It's a system foreign to us. Yes. Right.
Well, and I think that some of these issues, and I've raised it even in my own analysis of the Colonie court system, certain things could be done to enhance its not only its effectiveness, but also for cost measures as well, and to provide quicker relief for defendants, setting bail, and providing opportunities for them to be out if we just do it on video, and their counsel's on the other end, and as you mentioned earlier, preliminary hearings. We have those every week. We may have as many as 10 scheduled. And as a result, typically 99 out of 100, the hearing is exchanged for bail recommendation. And so that my suggestion to the town is there's an example of, do we need to transport, does the county sheriff need to transport everybody over just for that purpose when counsel and defendant merely wanted that to begin with? Certainly, hearing is, everybody's entitled to the hearing, and we're happy to do that in the courthouse. But if it was bail you were after anyway and you wanted to waive your preliminary hearing, could we have done 10 on the video? Nobody was transported anywhere, and the defendant was able to meet bail and enjoy his rights sooner. It just seems to me that you and I are kind of in the forefront of thinking of ways to enhance the system, but it does move slowly.
It does move slowly.
I can see that. So, but you've brought so many innovative programs to the Albany County Court and continuing to do so. But it's no surprise to me, Judge, because you, not only is your long legal career well established and certainly admired by many here in the community, but you come from a family of long line of attorneys, judges, even a gubernatorial candidate. And so it was in the line, in your family line. Tell me about the history a little bit. It's very interesting to our residents here in Colonie.
Well, my father was an attorney, and he was an assemblyman from 1946 to 1954, representing Albany County. And my grandfather was an attorney and the Albany County District Attorney back in the 20s. And my great-grandfather was an attorney, the Albany City Corporation Counsel, Albany County District Attorney, a Supreme Court judge, appellate division justice, and he ran for governor in 1904. And that's the year that Teddy Roosevelt ran for president, and his coattails took the state, swept the state, and my great-grandfather was not elected. And my great-great-grandfather was an attorney, but he didn't practice law. He went into banking.
Well, I can tell you, I believe that, I know that at Albany Law School, which is our alma mater, and also down at the Justice Department as well in downtown Albany for the appellate division, I know there's a painting of, I believe, your great-grandfather.
Great-grandfather.
No, that's right. And so much of the legal history, the storied legal history here in the county of Albany has involved the Herricks, and we're all very fortunate for that as well. And we look forward to your continued involvement on the bench, Judge. You were so nice to take the time to meet with us just for the few moments. Obviously, the limited time we had couldn't do justice to Judge Herrick, but we're very lucky that you came out with us and shared yourself with us today.
Well, thank you, Peter. And make sure you say hello to your mother, who was my English teacher at Bethlehem Central High School in 1964.
Well, I guess we've now recognized the root of all genius, and from my mom, who was 90 years old, and she does not know yet that you will be joining us here on Benchmark, and I can't wait to tell her, because she was very fond of your mom as well, and Great ladies seem to migrate to each other, and they're two special people.
They are and
Yep,
were. So
that's right. And thank you very much,
Thank
Judge,
you.
for coming out here today. I'm Judge Peter Crummey, and thank you for joining me on Benchmark.